Hello, BookTube. Cheers. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit, muggy, and we're not even the hottest part of the country, so whoa, something else. But I thought I'd do something I've wanted to do for a long time. Wasn't quite sure how to go about it, and that is to talk to you about atlases. And I collect atlases and I collect maps, and love them. Now I have a lot of books on navigation and that sort of thing. So I thought I'd break it up. I haven't quite figured out how to do the charts and maps because of the camera angle. But with this new piece of high tech I have here, I think I'm going to be able to do the atlases. I'm going to try. So I'm just going to jump right into it and we'll see how it goes. The thing about atlases is they tend to be rather large. There's many kinds, obviously. I've got a few here to show you. But they do get bulky and they are hard to handle sometimes. And this is just a representation of what I have. So I'll start here. And this is the National Geographic Atlas of the World. And this is the 7th edition. So you can see it's quite large. You have the page breakouts of the maps. Hopefully you can see this. How to use the atlas. Then it has a history of map making. Round earth, flat paper. So what kind of projection are you using? There you have the earth with Hurricane Mitch. Right here, look at the size of that. There's Florida. There's Yucatan and Cuba. Continents Adrift. So this is a fascinating book. I love having it around for my children to see. Plate tectonics, how that works. Let's get into the world economy. The world's beyond, which I think is fascinating. Here's a wonderful map of the moon. It's called the Clementine Topographic Map of the Moon. The solar system. The heavens. Northern sky. Southern sky. The Milky Way. So our solar system's right here. You probably hear a tractor going by. They're doing some work in the field next to us here. And then there's the universe. Now we get into the political world. So you have all that. Arctic, Antarctic. Physical world. Of course, you can see the seabed. So then you'll go into, like, here's North America. I'm not going to shift that. Over here. Let's do some other things. So here's Mexico and Central America. Here's some cities. Columbus, Norfolk Newport News, Charlotte, St. Louis, Milwaukee. We're over here, Germany. To the side here, of course. Okay, we have Asia. So just fast, and so here's Karachi, New Delhi. There's New Zealand. And then all sorts of metrics and sort of a little gazetteer of help you find things. So that's National Geographic, 7th edition. It's quite a job just handling it. It's quite heavy. I'm going to put it over here. And then I have another version. A little bit of dust on it here. They do tend to lay flat on my shelves, so they will pick up a little bit of dust. So this is the 11th edition. Can't really see it here. It's in a slipcase, so I'll take it out of that. There we go. Getting a workout already in 90-degree heat. So we have air conditioning upstairs, little units, but down here we don't. We usually get 3 or 4 days a year where it would be nice to have, but seems like the world's changing. So this is National Geographic 11th edition. Quite beautiful. Out of Washington, D.C. Again, how to use the atlas. Has all the same, our watery world, in search of potable water, changing patterns of life. So these books will change with what, the human concerns are. So the 11th is quite different than the 7th in some ways. Here we have humans change the planet. So plastic's long legacy, seas of plastic, plastic accumulation zones. Look at this. Quite fascinating. Cultural diversity, tracking civil freedoms, linking all the world, cyber attacks. So then we go right in. There's a nice view of North America. Then we start doing some of the same stuff. Of course, sometimes boundaries change. Mexico again. South America. That's quite beautiful, isn't it? And then where are we at? Germany. I seem to turn the same pages. I don't know why. Asia again. Eastern Russia. Look at just the sheer expanse of that. Mongolia. China. Central Asia. Uzbekistan. Kazakhstan. Just fascinating. Australia. And then flags and facts and that sort of stuff. I'm going to take that down. I will actually rebox that afterwards. I just have to shift where I put the next one. So those are both National Geographic. I have another National Geographic, but it's a bit different. But here, again in a slipcase, this is the Oxford Atlas of the World. Take that out here. It's a deluxe edition. This again, so you can find out where the maps are. User guide again, talking about distances, map symbols, map presentations, latitude and longitude, the scales of the maps. The map projection, so is it Mercator, what is it? Content, table of contents. So then you just start with these wonderful aerial images. This is Cairo, Singapore. These are quite fascinating. Cape Town, Sydney, Australia. Hope I'm not turning that too quick for everybody. Auckland, New Zealand, Vancouver, Canada, lovely place I've been to. Santiago, Chile. And then we have landforms where we talk about climate change, water and vegetation, cities, conflict. So you can see the maps and trade, obviously. Travel and tourism, which is taking a hit, right? So then you have city maps. So there's Buenos Aires, Budapest. You have Antarctica, the Arctic Ocean over here, McKinley Sea, Baffin Bay. And then, so we have Wales and England, and southern France. Just loaded with information. Presented differently. They each have their own philosophy. I'll put that over here. And then you can get into specialty atlases. So here's an example. There's many. I just grabbed this. Oh, I've grabbed a few. This is the Harper's Atlas of the Bible. So this. So here's the Dead Sea, Sea of Galilee. This is edited by James B. Pritchard. Some of you will remember him from Ancient Near Eastern Texts, the little 2-volume They had one in pictures, reference work. So Pritchard was quite an important guy. Harper and Row Publishers, New York. And this came out in 1987. And it's focused on the biblical world. So you got big timelines from prehistory to 3300 BC, then 2650 BC, and so on and so forth. So events influence the history of Palestine, dominant foreign powers, biblical book, events influence in the history of Palestine, same thing each time. Then you'll have, so here's Mesopotamia, here's Sinai Peninsula, here's some of the archaeological reconstructions, wanderings of Abraham and Isaac in Canaan. So you're trying to relate this stuff to the Bible, right? Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt. These are clay tablets. The Amarna tablets. There's the Mediterranean. Showing some of the changes going on. Exodus and the wanderings. Tombs and burial practices. So just fascinating to go through. So the map of the world from Genesis 10. I'm just going to run through here. The Seleucid Empire. So you get all the Dead Sea Scrolls, Sea of Galilee, and here's Byzantine Palestine, and there's that. So. And then another specialized one. This is Rand McNally, another big mapping company. And this is Atlas of the American Revolution. This is edited by Kenneth Nebenzahl and text by Don Higginbotham. This is Rand McNally out of Chicago. And this is from 1975, so it sort of makes sense, right? 1976 was the American Bicentennial. You have your table of contents, you'll have an introduction, tell them what their plan is. You have regional maps they discuss here. So northern British colonies. So I live right there. Here we have another section here with New York, New England. We have Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. We have southern sections here. And then you have a chronological flow chart of the Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1782, and they break it up: Northern Theater, Middle Atlantic Theater, Southern Theater, the fringes and historic events. Very nice, easy to read. This is Manhattan Island, why the Revolution, some history. You have John Adams right here, Benjamin Franklin. Let's get into some of the maps. So they give you the year of the war, some of these older maps. This is the town of Boston. This is a plan of Boston. This is Quebec. Hopefully you can see that. So here we have Charleston Bar and Harbor. There's Sullivan's Island. Let me see if we get here. What's this one? Let's see here. New York Island. So there's Hudson or North River, the Harlem River. This is Germantown. And so just a lovely thing, and of course it's made for the American Bicentennial, and I'm glad to have it. It's wonderful. Another specialist one is again National Geographic. This is a little larger. So this came with some special things. So here, I'm going to hold it up and show it to you, then I'll pull out the items. I can't do it while it's on there because it'll catch. I'll just pull them out here. So I'll put this up here so you can see it. So this is from says the logo 1888 to 1988. Overlay depicts the United States 4 scales, which I don't know if you can see this. Probably not. That's the scales that they use. But either way, a little piece of paper that goes over that. And then there's one of these typical National Geographic wall maps or paper maps. I've got literally hundreds of these of different kinds, different countries, dating way back. And I'd love to find a way to show them to you. But this thing here, so it's a centennial edition, so 1988. So here we have western borders and shapes of future states northwest of the Ohio River. We're still in flux in 1784. So here's New England, where I'm at. There's a good old, that's a wonderful photograph. So you have the land, people, boundaries, economy, networks, communities. This is, I recognize this for some reason. That's Windsor, Vermont. Oh, Woodstock, Vermont, I mean. Yeah. Okay, here it is. That's right up the road here. There's the post office. You can't fish in the street anymore. So, natural states of the New World, anatomy of the land. So this is the Appalachians, run up through Maine, all the way down to and Tennessee and Kentucky, West Virginia, all that. Some of the wildlife, forest vegetation, 1400 to 1606, some maps, where there were different cultures. You got a timeline running across the bottom here. So, what do we have? Wigwams. This is, here's a ship of the time. So this is Mayflower. I'm just going to move through pretty fast here. So this is immigration, segregation, religion, this is just shows you how all this works. Westing by Muscat and Sexton. New farms on a new land. Balancing the national water budget. Of course, very important now, right? Prepare for war, prosper in peace. And I just dropped something. I don't know what it was. I'll check. And wagon maps for the Great Migration. So see how they made the maps there. So that's pretty neat. Let me see if what I dropped here. Oh, a magnifying glass that came with it too. So this one was sort of loaded with stuff. And let me put that back. And I wanted to sort of segue into, I'm hoping to do some maps and charts coming up and some navigation type stuff. So this here is an example. This is put out for, by NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. This is actually called Recreational Chart 14786, which is New York State Canal System. And it's just a different type of atlas, right? So here's New York. It's showing the canal system. So Erie Canal, Rochester, Mohawk River, So then you'll have these with depths and all that. So you can see there, hopefully you can see, page after page. So if you were going to boat the canal, you could do so. So Seneca River, Cross Lake. When did this come out? 13th edition, September of 2001. So, really interesting. You can see I'm just soaked here. It's just miserable weather out. But I'll be saying that in the middle of December when there's 3 feet of snow. So, this sort of did help to stand a little bit so I could show you some of these. They're a little hard to handle. We will figure out how to do the maps and charts if anybody's interested in that. Hope you enjoyed this, and thank you, BookTube.